Everyone here this morning to this unique event. And at this time, we want you to continue to enjoy your breakfast, but we're going to go ahead and start the program. Clemson will be doing some taping, and additionally, they have some interviews later on. So we want to try to stay on a schedule. My name's Ronnie Summers. I work with Ag South Farm Credit, and I'm also the president of the South Carolina Advocates for Agriculture. The South Carolina Advocates for Agriculture is a nonprofit, a 501c5, which promotes agriculture in the state, and our real focus is education, especially relative to young people. The funds generated this morning will go directly to the Commissioner's School for Agriculture at Clemson. Both the South Carolina Advocates for Agriculture and the Commissioner's School at Clemson, the genesis came from our guest speaker later on this morning, Commissioner Weathers. We're real proud to be supportive of these events. And we want to acknowledge the individuals and groups of individuals that have this morning really been so supportive of this event. Our host sponsors include, and if you will, when we call out the host sponsors, please stand and we'll acknowledge you once we've collectively acknowledged all the host sponsors. Clemson University, the College of Agriculture, Forestry, and Life Science, if y'all would stand, please. Piedmont Tech, Piedmont Technical College. Dixon Hughes Goodman. Bear Crop. And the South Carolina Department of Ag. Yeah, we got you on the list too. Please stand. Let's give all our hosts an applause, please. And Anna, if you would join me, the state president this year, the FFA, Anna Mink's going to join me on stage. And Anna's going to give us some background on the products you're eating to this morning that were donated by various entities.
Well, this breakfast has been wonderful this morning, and we would just like to thank Carolina Pride Smoked Sausage, produced in Greenwood, Carolina Pride Bacon, also produced in Greenwood, Adla Whitestone Ground Grits, produced in Columbia, South Carolina, and also from Manchester Farms, the farm-raised quail. Thank you so much for providing this wonderful food for this breakfast this morning.
Thank you so much, Anna. We got off program just a little bit. Anna was actually going to start us off with an invocation, so we switched up our responsibilities and got her to take on another task for us this morning. Additionally, we'd like to acknowledge, and I'm going to ask you not to necessarily stand. We'll give a collective applause at the end. But each table consists of sponsors that gave their monetary support for this event. And I want to call out those groups: the South Carolina Advocates for Agriculture, Arbor One, and I got to acknowledge Arbor One because they've got actually 2 full tables, so we certainly appreciate their participation. Ag South Farm Credit, the South Carolina Forestry Association, great to have the forestry folks involved, Nationwide Agribusiness Insurance, Walnut Grove Auction and Realty, the South Carolina Poultry Federation, Sun Construction, Auburndale Plantation, W.P. Rawl Farms, the Scholar Company, Titan Farms, Clemson University, the PSA side of Clemson, and then the South Carolina Farm Bureau, and Case International, Carolina Agri-Power, Dillon Tractor. Okay? Let's give all these entities a collective applause. At the end of the program today, we'll acknowledge the funds generated, but again, contributions have just been significant. And I want to say, before I forget it, a huge thank you to everyone that participated in the silent auction last night. We did extremely well with that also. Our guest speaker this morning needs little introduction. In fact, when we were talking this morning, I said I'm going to be very short on the bio today. It will be our guest speaker, Commissioner Weathers, Hugh Weathers from Bowman. I've had the good fortune of growing up very near Hugh, known him essentially all my life. He's definitely, when we talk about the agribusiness side of the world, he is in tune because he's been right there on the farm working like many of you and many of you that support farming. With that, we're going to ask Commissioner Weathers to come up and update us on many of our projects, especially relative to the Commissioner's School.
Good morning, and thank you, Ronnie. It is a privilege to see all your smiling faces. For some of you, I realize this morning is real close to last night, time-wise, but it is still good to see all of you. I do want to bring you up to speed on a lot of issues that we're trying to cover, but for the most part, focus and tie all that together with the Commissioner School for Agriculture, which is why we're here this morning. And let me thank all of you who are here and supporting that endeavor, which is a great partnership between the Department of Agriculture and the College of Agriculture at Clemson. And while I mentioned that, let me say that Dean Scott, I think, had to return to campus. He is our partner in that, Tom Scott, and does really a great job supporting it, as do all the members of the staff. Also, just want to acknowledge a few folks. I don't want to add the introductions all, but do want to recognize folks playing new roles. And we can start with the Ott family with State Director Harry Ott, who, again, like Ronnie said about myself, needed no training for his new role as State FSA Director. Really a good, coming on as a good partner in that new role. And then as he did that, a little bit of backfilling by another Ott member, and that's Russell, as we acknowledged last night in his first week in the General Assembly. So looking forward to great work from Russell Ott, again, needing no training in his new role. We've got new folks in the Department of Agriculture, which I'll mention in just a bit, but you've heard it talked about a lot over the last several years, the role of agribusiness in South Carolina's economy. Much like when raw numbers are thrown out and we say agribusiness is a $34 billion industry. Well, until you recognize that South Carolina's economy is about $160 to $170 billion, you know, for a Carolina graduate, you have to just break down the simple math and realize that that's about 20%. So I think it makes more of an impact when the average South Carolinian realizes that 20% of our economy has something to do with agriculture and forestry. We think that has tremendous platform for growth, both in production of agriculture, processing, value added, large, small, and in between. And what we've done in the Department of Agriculture is bring on an assistant commissioner to focus on that area. Clint Leach has come on at the end of last year. His role will be economic development, working with other agencies, be it Clemson or DHEC or PRT, Commerce, all trying to pull this effort with a little more horsepower behind it. So we welcome Clint coming over from the Senate Finance area, Senate Finance Committee. Also, as we said, we're working in the big picture, working in the small picture. Just many of you are aware that I think in December we released the Small Farms Can Be Big Business study, and it's just trying to say, how do we extend the opportunities in agriculture to the smaller farms around the state? How do we support them with infrastructure, with all of the collaboration that we've spoken to in the last several years? How do we extend that and make those opportunities available for small farms? And as we speak, Jack Shula at PABC is heading up that effort as we move into the implementation phase. We've talked about traditional agriculture and the things that add into the mix. Let's mention agritourism, a new phase that has a lot of new potential. For those of us in farming, I still do not understand that people will come and pay to watch me milk cows or chase cows or whatnot, but nevertheless, they are there. So in the department, just last week, we named an agritourism director, Miss Jackie Moore, who's been in the department working with specialty foods. So she'll now head that up and again try to bring some strategies around that area so we can coalesce there. We have other changes going on. The missions of the Department of Agriculture don't just include promotion of our industry. It is food safety and consumer services that we are so involved in, where we interface with the public. And we brought just last summer a new assistant commissioner to head that up, a young man named Derek Underwood, who comes from private industry with Swift, I think, and is bringing just new energies to that, because the public wants to know how is their food being protected, how is state government working on their behalf. So we're real pleased at where that's going. So it just points to all of the changes that are going on, attracting new processing to South Carolina. I'm looking at Fred Garner from Birdsong with their announcement that we made, alluded to last night, but real proud of the growth in the peanut industry, especially here in the PD. With all of these things, with food being such on people's radar, who's growing it, how's it being grown, is it safe? We've got to communicate that message of just what agriculture does for people, puts it on the table, puts it safe, makes it economical. The same messages that we've been telling ourselves for quite a number of years, we now need to tell in a more effective way. And in just a minute, I'll ask Kelly Coakley, who is our relatively new public information director at the Department of Agriculture, to come up and talk a little bit about that. David Winkles, I hope it's okay to mention, Farm Bureau just announced, or will announce soon, a pretty aggressive strategy around social media to tell the farmer's side of the story. As you know, for the last few weeks, if you read a newspaper or don't live under a rock, there are issues in South Carolina development where perhaps agriculture and natural resources advocates perhaps find themselves at odds. So we want to make sure the full side of the story gets out there, especially in opportunities for growth. The Food Safety Modernization Act, if you haven't heard of that, if you're involved in the production, processing, or anything to do with food, you will hear of it, and it will impact your lives. We don't know how much, we don't know when, we just know it will. And again, the Department of Agriculture is trying to be that front line of defense or interface or whatnot to work with folks who are in the production of food so that the federal regulatory burden is just not so overwhelming that all of the opportunities that we speak to are just, they're affordable. So we just want to put shoulder to the wheel on that. And we've done that by basically doubling the number of food safety inspectors that we have in the Department of Agriculture. So again, trying to put really the resources where they need to be. You know, our front for growth doesn't just count on South Carolina and within our borders. Our exports through the Charleston port, always a point of emphasis. Again, we think that there's got to be some hard looks at where bulk facilities can work in Charleston, but that's not to slow down the growth that we've had. Just a few years ago, we had 3 staff members based in Charleston doing inspection. Today we have 10. We're doing quite a bit of export work at the Wando terminal. Schooler Grain, one of our sponsors this morning, is the primary user there. So all of these things just say that this industry does not stand still. It's growing in all directions. Growth requires just a new focus. It requires new collaboration. We think that collaboration will extend to the new Clemson president, President Clements. We hope to, in the next 2 months or so, have an event at the farmers market where agriculture welcomes our new land grant president to South Carolina and just has an opportunity to reinforce the message that we know that we've been working together on behalf of agriculture and the future is bright, and certainly Clemson plays a role in that. When we talk about the future, that's why we're here this morning. The Commissioner School of Agriculture will have its 11th year in next summer. It is a great collaborative effort between a lot of people who have a passion about future leaders in South Carolina agriculture. The statistics of that school prove it out. 350 plus graduates, nearly 50 of whom are now employed in South Carolina agribusiness in one way or the other. I think you'll hear about some of them in just a minute. But the point is, you know, looking out, I don't know the correct way to say this, but we need that next generation to come on, because looking at all of you, looking back at me, other than a few of you ladies in the room, some of us a little long in the tooth. So we just need to always focus on where our next leaders are coming from, having them prepared, having them look at agriculture, agribusiness as a great career opportunity, and that is the role of the Commissioner School of Agriculture. In just a minute, you'll hear the quality of the young men and women going through that program to know that all of your efforts and your help this morning going toward a great cause. So again, Let me just thank you for your support, and let me just compliment Jody Barton once again on a great two-day program here at the Expo. It's just, I think, fulfilled what you were hoping to do, what we were all hoping to do on the planning committee, and that is really elevate our industry. And again, thank you for coming this morning. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to introduce our relatively new Public Information Director, Ms. Kelly Coakley. Came to the department about a year and a half ago, came from another career in media, and made it clear she knew nothing about agriculture. She enjoyed what we do, with 3 times a day, like most of the 99% of our population not involved in producing food. But she brings a great perspective to that role to make us reconfirm or confirm how we believe, why we believe these things, and why are we looking at it differently. So she, in that new role, is just indicative of new faces, new collaborations, new perspectives on our industry. So I'm going to ask Kelly to come up and just speak to communication strategies around agriculture.
Well, Commissioner already stole my thunder by saying I know very little about agriculture. In the last 18 months, I've learned a lot, but I know that I still have a lot to learn. So before I make this next statement, just keep that in mind and don't tune me out. Old guy on a tractor, piece of straw in his mouth, overalls. 2 years ago, that was basically what I thought about agriculture. I grew up in the suburbs. Every time I'd go to the grocery store with my mom as a kid, there were milk, green beans, bread, vegetables, whatever you wanted, you could get it at the grocery store. Unless I grew up in Texas, unless there was a hurricane, then there'd be a rush at the grocery store. Now that I live in South Carolina, if there's a snowstorm threatening, then there's a rush to the grocery store. But other than that, you can typically find what you need. So for most of my life, I never really made the connection that because I eat, I am connected to agriculture. It's just something that did not ever occur to me. I'm smart, I'm college educated, Commissioner Weathers hired me, so that's proof that I'm not a dummy. But it just wasn't anything that I had really ever given much thought to. Prior to coming to the Department of Agriculture, I worked in television news for 13 years. I worked in Columbia most recently, Greenville prior to that, Louisville, Kentucky, and Nashville, Tennessee. In those 13 years, I can count on one hand, how many times I ever reported on a story that had any direct connection to agriculture. And that was when I worked in the upstate, and it was, I think, 2008 when the late frost hit and the peach crop was devastated. So that was really the only thing that I had ever covered in all of that time. I will say I'm very impressed with the media in this region because I think they seem to understand the importance of agriculture here in the PD, and we had a lot of media coverage yesterday, so I was encouraged by that. But I'm not going to so much give strategy. I just maybe want to help you all understand the me's of the world, because I think there's a lot of me's out there who, while there is a lot of attention these days on how is your food made, and is it organic, is it this, is it that, there's still a lot of people out there who are really not thinking or making the connection to what you all do every day to get food and other things on their table that they need. Last summer was my first experience at Commissioner School, and the whole time I worked in the upstate, I never even knew that was going on at Clemson and the partnership with the Department of Agriculture. So I was pretty impressed to see all of these high school students take a week out of their summer to have fun, but also to learn about their future possibly in agriculture. And we were able to have the Fox affiliate from Greenville and the NBC affiliate from Columbia come and do stories on what these students were learning. And we were able to sell it to them, not just this is a week-long summer event for these students, they're investing in their future, and also agribusiness is huge. We were able to talk about the economic impact and what it means for our state. And I do know this, the majority of media who are not ag-related media, they do like to talk about economic impact, and they do like to talk about jobs and things of that nature. And again, my image of the guy in the tractor, I wasn't thinking about the fact that there's a huge economic impact in what this industry does. So a lot of what I've been trying to do as I've been learning about agriculture, and I probably have asked a lot of very dumb questions, but Commissioner Weathers, Martin, and Aaron, the other commissioners, have been gracious to sit down. A lot of times I play reporter. I take my pad to their office and I say, okay, let's go through this, help me understand this. And so I've really enjoyed learning about it, and I've really become to appreciate what it is that happens in our industry. And I think a lot about what we're trying to do at the Department of Agriculture is we're trying to work and look for ways where we can be proactive and not be on the defense, be on offense, and get our message out there. You all have amazing stories to tell. And there's a lot of different things in what you do that media look for in what they want to tell. They always want a people angle. They don't necessarily want a talking head. They want to hear from the farmer. They want to hear what it is. When it's cold, how are you combating these extreme temperatures? What's going on? And I know that the media can be scary. I used to be one of them. But I would really just encourage you all, if you're approached, to look for an opportunity where you can be proactive. Because the story of agriculture is getting told, sometimes by folks in the industry, but a lot of times by people who don't understand what it is that you're doing. And I think we've seen the result of some of that lately, and how difficult it can be for our industry and how misunderstood what it is that you do can be. So again, as I'm learning about agriculture, I'm here and the department's here, and I know the Farm Bureau does a lot of work to make sure that what it is that you're doing is out there and told, but let's make sure that we are always coming together and looking for opportunities, because we can kind of get the upper hand and we can get our story out there. And I think that the more we're able to do that, the more that 34 billion is going to grow, which is exactly what we're all in here trying to do. So I appreciate you all letting me take a moment. They told me I had to be brief, but if I ever call you and I ask you a dumb question, just bear with me. I promise that I'm going to try to get a good outcome at the end, whether we're talking with the media or doing something on social media. We're just here to serve you all and to tell your story. So thank you for allowing me to pick your brains over the last year and a half and just understand this industry. It's great. And one final thing I want to say. I told Commissioner, this was a while back, that I drank the Kool-Aid. I was in Publix last summer, had my Department of Agriculture shirt on, and I never thought about buying local. I just didn't. Again, the grapes are there or the peaches are there. I just grabbed whatever looked good. Never necessarily cared where it came from. And I know that Publix is they carry the certified South Carolina branding. And I looked around and I saw nothing. And I was like, this is ridiculous. So I went to the guy behind the counter who oversees the vegetables and everything and the fruit, and I said, don't you guys sell certified South Carolina? And he said, yes. I said, well, where's your signage? And he saw my shirt. He's like, I'm with the Department of Agriculture, and I really think you need to have that there. He's like, oh yeah, we'll get it out there. So next time I went in the store, they had it out there. I felt like I made a difference. So you can impact people like me. So let's work together to tell the story. And again, thank you for allowing me to take a few minutes to share with you.
In case you're wondering, Kelly does intimidate us in the Department of Agriculture as well. So I know y'all got it together. She mentioned going through the department to ask questions. We do have other staff here today. It's Martin Eubanks, who's headed up marketing for Lowe these several years, and Aaron Wood, who's come back to the Department of Agriculture to really manage the operations of it. Again, it just as Commissioner, I'm very proud of the staff team that we have together. Marie Lybrand, who's put together quite a bit of what we are doing and is solely responsible for the Order of the Palmetto being awarded to James Cooley last night. So I just want to mention that. We've spoken about the partnership between the Department of Agriculture and Clemson, and really in the College of Agriculture, in the school, the Commissioner School of Agriculture, it is embodied in Katie Black. She brings passion for these young people. She brings a toughness that is needed up there throughout the week. We were talking last night just at the end of the week. I think they all just go and turn their cell phones off for a day or two and just totally unwind after a week of pretty intense programming, management, shepherding, whatever that all goes on. But again, Katie's headed this up for a number of years now. I don't know when she actually took it over. I think she started in junior high or something. But anyway, along with this Kirby player back there. But a great partnership. Katie's going to come up and bring to you some of the folks who've been involved in the Commissioner School for Agriculture.
Good morning, everyone. And I realize a lot of you have booths to get to in the next 10 minutes, so I'll be as brief as I can. Thank you all again for being here this morning and supporting this endeavor. It's something that all of us that are involved in the partnership are very passionate about, but it's also something I realize a lot of you as sponsors and supporters are very passionate about, and we thank you a lot for that. I appreciate that, Commissioner, giving me a lot of the credit. I cannot take that credit on my own. There is a committee that works tirelessly throughout the year, financially planning for the time frame, and really planning to do what we can do to recruit the best students to come through the program. In the 11 years now, this summer will be the 11th year, we have now seen just a little over 351 students come through the program. Many of those are still in high school and in college, so the statistics about where they have gone are not fully there yet. We're still a very young program. But from my best stalking on Facebook, I do know around 50 of those are directly involved in agriculture. I actually want to quickly recognize a few of the folks that are in the room. I've got some folks that are going to speak. If you are an alumnus of the program, if you would just stand up so we could recognize you. I know there's a number of you around the room, some of you that are young and some that are professionals out in the industry. These folks are great representatives. They're great representatives of the quality of student that we see throughout the week. We will have the new application up and available for students to apply. We do hold the program in July. When we sit down to review the applications to choose the participants, that's probably the hardest job. Someone might say the week of exhaustion is hard. The hardest part is deciding the select few that will get to join us. How do you turn down a student who says they're interested in agriculture? I mean, that is just too hard. We are very excited about the number of applicants we get, and actually in my role at Clemson, is that I coordinate student recruitment for the university and for the college. We currently are seeing such a great interest in agriculture. Our traditional agricultural applications are up 12% this year. That's something that is so exciting to me and to so many others, and it's just something that is embodied within the Commissioner's School as well. I want to invite two of our alumni to come up and speak briefly about their experiences in the program. Ms. Shelby Wayne, who just came through this last year in the program, and Jason Gore, who came through in our earlier years. I won't age him entirely. Let them give you some comments about what it meant to them.
Good morning. I'm Shelby Wayne, like Miss Katie said. I came through the Commissioner's School a few years ago, and can I just say that it is so great to be here this morning with so many people that are in support of the Commissioner's School. It really is an amazing program, and it's such a great feeling to be here with so many people that share a passion for the agriculture industry like I do. My experiences at the Commissioner's School are some that are definitely going to stay with me for the rest of my life. It really opened my eyes. I grew up on a turkey farm out in the backwoods. I guess if any of you know where McBee is. I grew up on a turkey farm every summer working with my pa alongside him. And I was actually for a while one of those people that imagined the farmer in his coveralls with the suntan arms sitting on a tractor. And I didn't realize how many paths there were that you could take through the agriculture industry. And in my week at the Commissioner's School, my eyes were opened so wide to just realize how many opportunities there are for growth and for success in the agriculture industry. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of what I took part in that week. Not only did I vaccinate and tag the ears of baby pigs, I made my own biodiesel fuel. I learned how to make a delicious omelet, and I even directed our own commercial to sell peaches for a smoothie. It was a really great experience. So I got to see the ag marketing, I got to see production and sales. It was really, really eye-opening for me. And I just know that every student that comes through, if you've ever talked to an alum from the Commissioner's School, they'll tell you it was one of the best weeks of their life. And like I said, a few years ago, I came through the program, and every time somebody mentions the Commissioner's School, I have to say, oh my goodness, it was so much fun, wasn't it? And they'll say, yes, I just loved it, I'll never forget it. But being here this morning with you all is just so great to see how many supporters there are, and I would like to personally thank you for your continued support. It's because of the people like you here today that we get to take part in these wonderful programs like the Commissioner's School. And I hope that just as many students that have had the opportunity to go through so far, I hope that we have that many in the years to come. And just thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being with you today, and at this time I'll turn it over to Mr. Gore.
Well,
My name is Jason Gore, and I am a agriculture instructor over at Sumter, South Carolina now at Crestwood High School. And Katie won't date me, but I will. I was in the very first commissioner's school 11 years ago. And I have to say I'm very jealous of Shelby. The experience they have now is 100 times even more amazing than it was when I went through it. I can remember you say you made omelets. Katie was my counselor. Not even the charger, she was a counselor when I did it. We went and ground sausage, so y'all have done one step further. There are amazing experiences at Commissioner's School. It really cemented for me that I wanted to stay involved in agriculture. I did not grow up on a farm. I grew up right outside the city limits in Loris, South Carolina, down near Myrtle Beach. Commissioner's School cemented to me that I wanted to stay in agriculture. I wanted to stay involved with youth and helping develop that next generation of agricultural leaders. It has made so many lifelong friends. There are still people that were in that first group 11 years ago, and we still talk and get together, and we still relive those experiences because it is such an amazing program, and it really does develop the next generation of agricultural leaders. And I can only hope that my students I brought with me take advantage of these opportunities. So really just I want to say thank you for your support of this amazing program, and have a wonderful day at the Expo.
Thank you both. I just want to wrap things up by saying thank you again for your support now and in the future, and we welcome any other partnerships, whether it be not just financial but also your expertise, to bring that to campus to help these students understand your profession, your niche within the industry. We welcome that and encourage that. So if we can do anything to build upon that, please see me today or in the future at anything that we're participating in the future. But thank you all again. I believe Commissioner Weathers has a few more comments to bring, or before we close things up, or maybe it's Ronnie we need to.
All I know is there was a check involved. Ronnie, where are you? No, to wrap things up, just all of your efforts, I think there's a check to be presented to Commissioner School by the Advocates for Agriculture, and that's Mr. Cullen Bryan, I think, is going to come do the honors. I just wasn't going to let him off without giving us our check.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. I want to kind of stage things here real quick. If I could get everybody that's here as a part of the committee, the advisory committee for the South Carolina AgriBiz and Farm Expo, if y'all would come and come up front on the right in front of us here, please. And a representative from each of our key sponsors here for the breakfast. Rather than trying to call that out, I think everybody knows who they are. And if y'all would kind of spread out in front of committee, can be on this side, the sponsors on my right. Y'all got that? And Commissioner, I'm going to need you up here along with Katie. And we're going to try to make this work.
Rearrange the decor.
You improvise and make things happen. So what we want to do is let everybody know, a few years ago we were looking and really wanted to do something in a special way to just thank everybody, and the Commissioner's School for Agriculture is a great way to be able to do that. I really came to appreciate that after my son went through and all that I've seen through Katie's efforts and the entire team in the Department of Ag working together. Because of you as sponsors helping to take care of cost and do some different things here, and all that's a part of that, because of each of you that's purchased tables and purchased tickets and then some additional contributions, Cullen's got a little check that he wants to present on behalf of all of our efforts combined together to take back and make this program continue to be an absolute blessing for the youth of South Carolina. So Cullen, if you'll do the honors and present and share this check, I'll get out of the way.
All right, Commissioner. Katie, you get in the middle and make this picture look better.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, come to the side over here where we tried to move the
Let's see
plant.
if we can get.
is this on roll?
Can we do?
Nope. Okay.
Can we do?
Hold up.
There we go.
Now we're moving furniture.
Oh,
There
yeah.
we go.
All right, Commissioner, we gladly present this check to you for the Commissioner School of Agriculture.
Thank you, sir. Thanks to everyone. Thank
Thank you so
Colin.
much. Appreciate everything.
Thank y'all. Thanks.
One last comment, and here's an exciting news that I just heard. Last night, there was an auction, a silent auction that was headed up by the advocates, Ronnie Summers and his entire group and organization. There looks to be approximately $2,000 that will be added to this from the advocates auction, and thanks for all of you for being a part of that. Give yourself an awesome hand. Thank you. God bless.